Hello, friends and family members. Welcome to the ministry of Job Titus Cannon, Inspirational. And I want to sing this song getting to our message. It says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not to thine own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. And I want to sing this old hymn says, lead me, guide me along the way. For Lord, if you lead me, I cannot stray. Lord, let me walk each day with thee. Lead me, oh Lord, lead me. Hello, friends and family members. This is your friend and family member, Job Titus Cannon. And this is our third and final part of the series entitled Faith Solutions. This part 3 of the Faith Solutions is entitled Navigation. Would you please say it with me a couple of times? Navigation. 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 In this series, it is my desire to teach on the promises of God that he has for his believers, his children, who just simply take God at his word to receive the blessings that he desires for you, and also for you to be a blessing to someone else. Let me redefine again what a New Year's resolution is. New Year's resolution is simply a goal or a promise to oneself to do something different or improve in some way during the new year. Again, I am not saying that a New Year's resolution is a bad thing. But when we are talking about faith solutions, a faith solution is a promise from God to not only improve you physically, but also financially, spiritually, and emotionally, that God's promises to you that you just simply take him at his word. What is faith? I just simply define faith is the belief in God's promises and word and the acceptance of God's love for us. Now, in Hebrews 11:1, which is a great definition of faith, and it comes from the Amplified Bible, and it just says, now faith is the assurance, which is the title deed confirmation, of things hoped for, which are divinely guaranteed, and the evidence of things not seen. This is the conviction of their reality, and faith comprehends as fact what we cannot be experienced in our physical senses. Taking God at his word, even though you cannot see it. Some people call it blind faith, being blind but trusting in God. When we talk about the word navigation, navigation is simply the process or activity of accurately ascertaining one's position and planning and following a route. That's what I want to talk about today, navigation. Now, when we make resolutions, or better yet, faith solutions in regard to navigation, we are allowing God to guide us and our life circumstances and our situation in the right or proper direction so it can go higher and better ourselves each and every day. Now, let's talk about navigation. If I am trying to go to a place that I have never been before, probability I am going to use a navigation or navigational system to get there. Now, the navigational system that most of us use is called GPS. GPS basically stands for Global Positioning System. And let's say I'm going to a place that I've never been before. And I want you to follow me what I'm saying. Let's say I'm going to Iowa. If I'm going to Iowa and I live in Georgia and I'm driving to Iowa, I am going to have to trust a navigational system, whether it's in my car, whether it's on my phone. I am going to have to trust that navigational system to get me to those places that I have never been before. Even if I fly a plane or get into a plane and rent a car when I get to Iowa, I am still going to have to depend on that pilot, which guides the plane, to get me to Iowa. When I get to Iowa, I will have to depend on the car or my phone to get me to the place where I am trying to go. As children of God, we are trusting in God because God is our God positioning system. We trust God to take us places where we've never been. All we have to have is the desire to go. Are you feeling what I'm saying? God is trying to take you to a place that you have never been before, but you have to totally trust in Him and allow Him to make the places straight so He can get you to your destination. Let's go into our scripture today as it relates to navigation. This scripture, oh boy, it's in my spirit. It's not just a scripture of navigation, but this is a mathematical equation. What are you talking about, Brother Job, Pastor Job? Well, I'm going to break it down to you. Our scripture comes from Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Earlier, I sung it when I was playing the piano, and it comes from the King James Version. I love this version. King Solomon is expressing the rewards of wisdom. King Solomon asked God for wisdom. God gave him wisdom, and he was one of the richest men that ever lived. And in this scripture, this is what Solomon says. He's saying, verse 5 of chapter 3, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not to thine own understanding. In other words, don't lean to your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, which is God, and He will direct your path. In this passage of scripture, and it comes into my spirit as a mathematical equation, because I look at it as 1 times 1 times 1 that equals the number 1 result. What you mean? Well, if we trust in the Lord, and it tells you how you should trust Him with all your heart. And sometimes that is hard because you're doing blind faith, which means that, hey, I'm not trusting in myself. I'm trusting totally in God. That's 1 times if I lean not to my own understanding, because my own understanding can get me lost. And then I am going to also multiply that and times in all my ways acknowledge that God is with me. I acknowledge God. God is you that's directing me. God is you that is blessing me. God, I can't do nothing without you. God, is only you. is going to equal that result, because he's going to get you to your destination, because God is doing the navigation. Let me give you 3 things, and I'm almost finished, that God desires from you to navigate your faith solution. I basically said it is in the scripture. Trust in God. Have faith in God. Have faith in God no matter what. Have that blind faith. You have to say this: Lord, I can't see it right now, but I'm trusting in you no matter what I see or cannot see. You got to totally trust in God. Number 2, lean on God. Lean on God. Allow God to hold you up based upon his word. You can say this: God, your word said it. I know it's going to happen based upon your word, because your word cannot and will not lie. God is a man of his word. And number 3, allow God to direct you. Allow God to direct you. The Spirit of God directs you through, number 1, listening to the Spirit of God, God's voice, because God's voice is always talking to you. Sometimes there's another voice talking to you, but you would be able to distinguish God's voice from that other voice. Number 2, allowing God to guide your thoughts. How? Because you're in the Word. And when you get into the Word, number 3, God is going to give you some dreams. He's going to give you some things that you've been desiring, because God knows everything about you. He created you. And number 4, he's going to align those blessings with his word. When you do these 3 things, which means trust in God, lean on God, and allow God to direct you, your navigational process of faith will lead you to those things that God desires you to have through his word and through his promises to bless you. I pray, my brothers and sisters and family members, that this series has blessed your soul. I pray also that God bless you and continue his blessings upon you and everything that you do in this blessed year and beyond. God bless you.